Good morning. It's Thursday, July 18th, and today I am taking great pleasure in talking about Joe Biden seriously considering publicly endorsing major reforms against the Supreme Court. Now, this is something that I believe has come to a point in time where action has to be taken because this group of Supreme Court justices, who are very conservative, and that is not the problem that I see. The problem that I see is that this conservatism has overruled the thinking process of this particular set of justices. Now, their decisions in some cases have just been awful, especially in the case where they have given President Trump almost total immunity for actions that he can take. So Biden is looking at this court and thinking that maybe there has to be term limits. You don't get a lifetime appointment. And maybe there has to be a set of rules under which the justices of the Supreme Court must operate. They don't have an ethics code. They can do whatever they want. And they have lifetime appointments. And in many cases, they are allowed to make decisions about staying in a particular case when it has personal repercussions. So I am all in favor of terms. I'm in favor of a code of ethics. I see no reason why the court should be treated any differently than in any of the lower courts. The lower courts have rules and regulations that they must abide by. So the word is that Biden is going to push for Supreme Court ethics reform and for term limits and for an amendment to overturn the immunity ruling. And that's what many people have come out and said, people in the know. For the last couple of years, people have been complaining about the lack of a code of ethics on the Supreme Court. And it is desperately needed. It is needed because members of this court have taken advantage of the privileges that they have acquired for themselves. They have been taken on trips paid for by wealthy benefactors, and all of those things have been omitted from their annual reports in many cases. So the Supreme Court needs to be tightened up a little bit. They need to have a code of ethics that people can look at and say, they're doing the right thing, they're doing the right job, the right way. That's definitely not the case right now. So Biden is looking at making these major changes. He is planning to publicly back term limit for the 9 justices who right now have lifetime appointments. And he's prepared to throw his support behind an ethics code for the court that would contain an enforcement mechanism. I don't know what kind of enforcement mechanism you can put on these justices, but they would be held responsible in some way, shape, or form. That is all missing right now from the handling of this court. And it's been missing for 250 years. So this is just an indication of how far this court has fallen from the prestigious place that it has held for over 200 years. Can we blame that on the people who have been selecting these justices? Has there been no policy, official or unofficial, about the makeup of any courts? No. The president has the right to appoint anybody he chooses to the court. And because of that, and the fact that while he chooses these people, members of his party get to vote a yes, a yay, or a nay on whether these people should be put on the court. And then, of course, you have the infamous case of Mitch McConnell, who withheld the appointment of Merrick Garland to the court for 9 months in the hope that a Republican would be elected president. And that happened. Trump became president, and then we had another conservative justice put on the court in place of Merrick Garland. So Biden is considering whether he should push for a constitutional amendment that would effectively reverse the historic ruling from the court earlier this month that affected the way the president's immunity was treated. This court gave the president almost total immunity from actions taken while he is the president in office. There have been many controversial decisions by many Supreme Courts, but this Supreme Court is among the worst, according to everybody who has been observing courts. This Supreme Court has dismal approval ratings, mainly because of their decision in the 2022 reversal of Roe versus Wade, and the controversy over ethics and transparency among some of the justices, mainly conservative justices Thomas and Samuel Alito. And this situation with the court puts a different perspective on this year's election, because if Trump wins that election, he is sure to be able to put at least 2 more justices on the court. And as this court needs a revamping, it won't be done by Donald Trump for sure. So this is a broken court. There's no question about that. And while ethics rules and term limits do not currently exist, changes should be made. And that is why this upcoming election is very important. Because if the wrong man is elected, this court will never be the Supreme Court. So I leave you with that this morning. Have a great day. Bye.